All right. So we're back to the talk. Huh? Yeah. So we had uh, quite a good turnout during in the Vesak Eve. So some of us also were not able, did not able to enter because it was already full. Yeah? But anyway, we still have the Facebook in the Facebook was live also. So those who have not seen the video, I think it's good that we can go back to the video on the Tuesday night for the talk by Reverend Sujiva. So we are back again to this the hindrance of restlessness and regret. Back here again to the restlessness and regret. And then that day I was talking about the nature of restlessness and also regret, uddhacca and kukucca. And then we see into its characteristic, how they arises, how they affect our mind. And also we begin to look into how we can able to overcome them. And that day we are talking about the first part of it, the Chittanupassana. Now in the Chittanupassana, looking at this restless mind as a Chittanupassana. And then afterwards we are going to talk about it as a Dhammanupassana. Let's see, okay. Hold on. Let's share the screen again. Share the screen. Okay, can you all see Vipassana? Hold on. Insert. No. Okay. Now, in the Chittanupassana, as using a hindrance or a regret as a Chittanupassana, then here, as I said, the nature of Chittanupassana is to see the object, whether it's a hindrance or any other mental or physical object, and you do not relate it to, or you do not connect it to other objects. Yeah? You don't see the interrelationship when you are doing the Chittanupassana. You only see the object of the mind, and now is, for example, is whether it's a restlessness or whether it's a regret. We see it as a whole. Now, in this Chittanupassana, in the beginning, while we are looking at, let's say, a restlessness, then normally the mind is very scattered, very full of a flurry of activities. As I said, this time when you do this Chittanupassana, you may see images of yourself, you see images of your friends or your loved ones or those who already passed away, or sometimes you have plans for future and also maybe involving you. All these things, as long as you don't go into their story. You go into their story, then you are not able to do any form of satipatthana. So you got to step out. It's a skill. It's a skill that you got to step out and watching all these thoughts passing through. Watching all these thoughts passing through. It is not easy. It is not easy, especially like, for example, if that type of thought is very powerful, very strong, emotional. Also, sometimes when it comes to like regret, there's sadness, there's remorse inside that. It kind of like want to pull you inside again. It want to pull you inside again and make your whole mind goes into turmoil, go into very, very difficult for you to manage. So again and again is that you need that effort, mental effort, in order for the mind to step out. That, as I said, that part is not an easy easy thing to do for many people, because the concept, the mind, they are so strong, and we want to go inside there. So the way of vipassana is that you need to pull your mind out. So when you pull your mind out, then you see a lot of scattering of the thoughts. The mind is running here and there, and then you cannot able to notice anything, or as if like you're not able to notice anything. The scattering of that thought is the nature of the restlessness itself. It's the nature of the restlessness, and all you need to do is just sit there, watch it. How it scatter. Sometimes it scatter, and how and as if like one thought after another thought, they are going very fast. They're changing very fast, and you do not know what story. You do not know sometimes what story is inside there, but you know that there's a flurry of activities inside the mind. So you're able to notice that, then well and good. That means you can able to notice the characteristic of the restlessness. Now, bringing this, noting this characteristic of restlessness, as I said earlier on, this part here, as I said, we have to bring in also not just only mindfulness, but also concentration, tranquility, or equanimity. All right? You've got to bring in the concentration, or samadhi, calmness, tranquility here as a passaddhi, and then the equanimity too. Here, while we are noting the restlessness, at the same time, we slowly inject a little bit of calmness inside. We bring in a little bit of passaddhi or upekkha inside. Let's say upekkha. Upekkha here is that you don't do anything. Your mind is just noting it only. Your mind is just noting, and you are just like step back and just observe only. Just observe, and let it go on. The thoughts, you let it go on and on and on. But you know that you are very clear. You know that you are not inside those thoughts. And then, if you do it that way, you see the thoughts slowly. The scattering begins to slow down. The thoughts kind of like becomes tamer, but it's still scattered here and there. You keep on noting, you keep on observing. You just sit back and just observe, and you slowly at times it becomes less and less and less and less, and finally you see the whole thoughts begin to settle, and completely the whole restlessness disappear. And you can do that if you are skillful in those things. Normally, the more advanced yogi, they use this technique, upekkha technique, in the sense that all they need to do is just observe those thoughts. As you observe those thoughts, the mindfulness kicks in strong again, and then very fast, because of the mindfulness, because of the upekkha together, and then these whole thoughts disappear. Whether that thought can be emotional thoughts, or whether it's just random thoughts, or whether it's a joyful thoughts, it does not affect the whole noting mind. The whole noting mind is just stable. And then you note it through, then you watch it through as it becomes fade. It begins to fade, it begins to lessen, and then the whole mind begins still and alert and clear. That is one way. Now, Chittanupassana also, in another way, that when we can bring in the calmness or the passaddhi. Now, the calmness here or the passaddhi here is that you begin to note them with a more slower noting. If you bring in the labeling right now, if you notice the labeling, then in order to help you to bring in the passaddhi or calmness, then this time is just to slowly note the thoughts. Just kind of like gentle stroking on the thought, you shoot as if like you notice a wild dog, then you notice it, and then you need to bark, and then just that time usually just relax, calm down. As the dog slowly calm down, you slowly stroke it, if you dare. Anyway, for this time, it's like you note it like restless. Although the mind is scattered, the mind is running here and there, planning and so on, and then you note planning or memories, something like that. You kind of like label it with a more slower, more calming, but at the same time, your mind is still alert, noticing the object or this restlessness running here and there. But it's a more slower phase. So with that slower noting, then the mind begins to calm down, because this time the mindfulness that comes, it comes with that calmness, or it comes with that tranquility. And it's good. It's a technique. There are techniques here. And you have to be skillful in doing this Chittanupassana. So all we need to do is just slow down until the whole mind gently disappear. And then once it disappear, then you keep the mind calm, clear. Then after that, you begin to notice other objects. Then there's a continuity, in a sense. There's a continuity of mindfulness, of clarity. Whether there's a hindrance or not hindrance, you can still able to notice these things. Then it makes the whole meditation becomes very interesting, compared to when you are in the beginning of your practice, where you cannot able to take on all this thinking mind, all this restlessness. It's very difficult in the beginning part. So this time, when you are more skillful, the mindfulness more stronger, then this Chittanupassana can be done. Now, in the way of Dhammanupassana, as I said, the principle of Dhammanupassana is to see its relationship, the subject matter or the object in relationship with other objects. How other object is in affecting it to make it increase, or other objects affecting it to make it decrease, or that particular hindrance or that particular object, then how it affects later part of what happened in connection with that particular object or that particular hindrance. So we'll look into this Dhammanupassana right now. In the area of Dhammanupassana, here, as I said, the non-self aspect, non-I, the non-self aspect is going to be more prominent. Whereas in the Chittanupassana, when you do a Chittanupassana, the impermanence aspect will become more prominent, because you see a lot of changes. Because you don't see conditional relationship, so you don't really see much of non-self. But for Chittanupassana, the impermanence become very clear. But in the Dhammanupassana, that is where the non-self become very clear. Now, in this aspect of Dhammanupassana, especially connected with hindrance, all these small little things, like for example, like last week we talked about the sleepiness when you're nodding, when you are moving your head, or whether your body is slouching. All this is part of the meditation object. But in the beginning part, we don't realize that as such. Because every time when there's a slouching, we try to straighten it up. If there's a nodding, we try to straighten the body or we try to stop that nodding. Whereas in Dhammanupassana, you have to see how the sleepiness and the nodding are connected, how the sleepiness and the slouching of the body is connected. Then you also see how the mental effort, as you increase, how the sloth and torpor slowly disappear. So in the Dhammanupassana, the principle is that we see the interrelationship. So in in the way of dealing with restlessness and regret here, let's deal with let's deal with regret. How are we going to note this regret right now? Let's say, while you are meditating, you're sitting down, and then out of a sudden, your mind goes to the back, to the past. It goes to the past, and then you begin to remember those things that you have done or those things that you have not done. Or perhaps what you have done that you are, in a way, your words are very harsh, or you are very your tongue is very sharp. You slice everybody else near you, far away from you, your loved ones, and all that. Or you remember your anger and the way that you behave was terrible. And then in the present, while you're meditating at this moment of time, your regret arises. Your regret, and somehow or another you begin to go into like sad, or mind is very uneasy, looking at all this type of thoughts, the past memories. Now, the most of us, if we are not trained in this vipassana, we tend to suppress this type of thoughts away. We tend to do not want to see it. We want to, because every time you see it, it makes you very unpleasant right now in the present moment. For some people, they may see death of the past. The loved ones pass away, and then they cannot let go. They felt that they have done something wrong to cause the person to die. They regret to cause that person to die, or loved ones, because sometimes, although it's not their fault, sometimes it's not their fault at all, but they take it as something that is theirs. That his mother died because maybe I've not given her enough medical care, I was not there, and everything. So the guilt that is holding on for that person right now, the mind goes into remorse, goes into regret. So actually, there's a lot of people like that, for one way or another. It's a big problem. It goes into a mental health problem. It goes into, or anxiety. It goes to insomnia. It goes into depression. These things, when it goes into too much. So we, in the vipassana, we have ways to overcome it. We have ways to overcome those things. Most of the time, where people do not have these ways, they will tend to go into using drinking, drugs, perhaps, or just make everything nice in their at home or wherever they go. They just want to put everything nice. They just want to forget about the past. They just want to bury the past away. And they want to surround themselves with all kinds of everything nice and everything beautiful, or they want to make jokes, humor, and all that, just to make themselves happy. But when this type of thoughts arises, because after all, they're going to arise one time or another. So when it arises, it becomes very bitter, very remorseful, very sad, and so on. So there are a lot of people like this. So a lot of times they do not how to undo all this entanglement inside there. All knotted suffering inside there. For some people, suffering a lot. So because of this, when it comes to Dhammanupasana or Chittanupasana, here, let's say your regret arises, and your regret arises, you see the past thoughts, Now, when it arises this time, then you label it as such. Remorseful, or sad, or guilt. Again, here is that you must pull your mind out from it. Because this type of regret, you may see yourself very embedded inside the thoughts. You must see yourself or your image or your concept right now as another, it's just an image or it's just a thought or it's just another person. You must not associate you right now, at the present right now, and you want to connect with the thought which is from the memory from the past. So if you cannot able to disconnect, then it's going to pull you into it and make you cry and make you more guilty and so on. So you therefore, that partner, you got to make an effort, a strong effort, in order for you to fall inside there. Now, in the beginning, while you are noting regret, you see the mind also is in the turmoil. All kinds of thoughts and that type of thoughts is kind of like very specific theme, Whereas the restlessness one is all very scattered. There's no theme, there's no nothing, it's just random thoughts running here and there. It may be planning, but the mind is just running here and there. There's no much of emotional involved. There's no much of emotional things involved. But in the regret, there's a sadness involved. There is a guilt feeling involved. There is the mind also, the thoughts also in a kind of like a very specific way. So while you're noting it, while you're noting the thoughts are regret, or memories, even you may see yourself, you want to commit suicide or you want to do this or that, because it's very difficult for you. Yes, we understand. It's for some people is that strong. So you take note of that mind. You take note of that mind. And you must step out from it. Step out from it, and you just watch the mind thoughts passing through. That type of thought passing through. Then you watch it as much as you can. As the thought is passing through. While you're watching it, the tears will come down. The tears will start to roll down. While the tears is rolling down, as I said, you must not go and disturb even the physical actions of the body, the physical manifestation. So this time the tears are coming down, it's going to drip here and there. Then you got to notice it dripping, tears, everything also. If it's going to come into your nose and all your snot and whatever is going to come out from your nose, if it's going into your mouth, then you can even taste it. Then you got to tasting. If the whole thing is going to drop into your palms while you're meditating, is everything go down there, then everything also you got to note that also. Not for you to move here and there and start to stop your meditation, try to wipe your tears away. No. If you are doing Dhammanupasana, you got to watch it. Now, you got to watch it. Your tears is coming out. But although the crying is there, but you must not. But you got to be very careful, not until it become lamentation, Lamentation, that means you are crying out loud already. That one, that one is too much already. That means you cannot able to control your mind already this time. And that means this time the Dhammanupassana is not suitable for you. But